Cajon Pass is infamous for its heavy, dangerous, and treacherous rail that operates through there. Trains are operated through here to get such heavy loads through the terrain, and sometimes that doesn't always go well. On December 14th, 1994, a train was scheduled to pass through. It was an intermodal train with 4 engines leading: B40-8W576, FP4596, F455976, and GP60M144. Behind them were intermodal cars fully loaded with containers. And as they were barreling down, something horrible would happen. Further down the line, a Union Pacific coal train was coming to a halt due to a red signal. It consisted of 5 engines. Only 3 are known: 1 leader and 2 helpers. The leader was C40-8W 9450, with 2 other Union Pacific locomotives behind it, which are unknown and not discussed to this day. The 2 helpers at the back end of the train are Union Pacific 3341 and 3354. They would be observing what would be the end of the train and would wait there until the signal would turn green and give them clearance to go through. As the Santa Fe Intermodal was rolling down, they started to notice that their train was speeding up and they were passing signals signaling to them to slow down and prepare to stop. Normally, they would apply independent or air brakes and everything would be good. However, when done such activity, in this case, 576 and the rest of its train would not slow down. This was a really bad sign. This was not normal at all. They should have been slowing down, but instead, the speedometer kept creeping up and creeping and creeping. Applying emergency brakes, no work. Now, this was a real emergency, and this was not good since the UP coal train has come to a halt and is no longer able to move. However, they're closing in fast on the helpers. They're calling emergencies to the dispatcher and the Union Pacific, warning them get out of the cab and that it's not safe anymore, foreshadowing the imminent collision. The impact had such force that it threw all 4 locomotives off the tracks. 576 was absolutely destroyed after being the first locomotive to hit the helpers. 96 had fallen over off to its side, with 5976 rolling around it on its cab, with 5976 burning its long hood. 144 was burned and half of its long hood was shredded off. The UP helpers were served no better. 3341 was sandwiched in between 3354 and 576. and thus most of the loghead came off, and barely anything survived. 3354 wasn't any better. It was thrown into the ground and burned down. Multiple intermodal cars piled up behind the locomotives of the runaway train. Some coal cars had derailed and one was destroyed. Then, multiple fuel tanks were punctured and caused a massive inferno. Luckily, all people on board the UP helpers and 576 managed to get off. 576's crew bailed, while the UP helpers crew had just walked off since they were not moving. 576's crew suffered injuries from the jump but survived. If they had stayed in the cab of 576 and still tried to fight to stop the train, they would have faced certain death. Now, the big question, and what everyone was asking, was why did 576 become a runaway? Well, it was later investigated that in the wreck, multiple air hoses were not tied properly and disconnected. This meant that the brakes did not pass through the entire train and stopped near the front of the train. So the locomotives were applying the brakes, but the brakes just did not go through all the train. And with the momentum of the back of the train pushing the train forward, it became unstoppable. In the end, all 6 engines involved in the accident were damaged way beyond repair and were scrapped. However, today you may see some of the engines with these numbers, including 3341, 3354, and 144. This was because of BNSF and Union Pacific trying to refill these numbers by renumbering older engines. However, those are not the same from the ones involved in this accident.